Hi, I'm Stephen Senatiempo. This is another episode of Faith in Five, and we're joined by the Secretary here at the Parish Office at St Christopher's Cathedral, Anisa Wilson. Anisa, good to be with you this morning.
Lovely to have you on.
5 questions, but I might throw a few extra ones in because you've got a bit of an interesting story to tell. But I'm going to start by asking you, the first question I ask everybody, what does faith mean to you?
So faith for me was really, genuinely, it's everything in my life. Like, without faith, I was living without purpose. I didn't have any sort of reason to live on, but faith was what brought that joy and that purpose into my life. So really, it's a lifeline for me, and it's just defined everything in my life up to this point. It's really just the cornerstone of my life.
Tell us about that journey. When you say faith, without faith, your life was directionless. When did faith become a part of your life?
Yeah, I would say it was when I was 17 where I really started stepping into the faith. So before that, I think naturally, when you're trying to find your identity and you're trying to find yourself, we're trying to fill our life with all these things that only God can satisfy. And so in that journey, I felt I was trying to fill my life with all these things that just couldn't fill me, and I just felt even emptier than before. And then one night I just encountered the love of God, and I think it just transformed my life forever, and nothing can really fill that hole that's made for God.
This next question, I guess, is going to take 2 parts for you because you work here at the Cathedral Parish, but you're actually part of the Syro-Malabar Church, which is one of the Eastern churches in communion with Catholicism. So I want to tell us about your vocation within the church, both your role here at St Christopher's and your role within your own church.
So, like you mentioned before, I'm Parish Secretary here at St Christopher's Cathedral, and so that gives me a really cool way to be a part of the Archdiocese and the Roman Catholic community here. But back in my parish, so the Syro-Malabar Church in Canberra, we're St Alphonsus parish. I'm a catechism teacher, I'm a part of the youth ministry, and I help out in church. I'm an active member of that church. So it's really interesting for me. I have these 2 different communities that I'm able to minister through, and it's just really wonderful to have that.
Tell us about your work as a catechism minister, obviously working with younger people within the church. Tell us what that's like.
I love it. I love it so much. Working with kids is definitely one of my passions because, you know, children, they have such a beautiful way to view faith, and they have this childlike way that they approach God and Jesus, and I think in that process, I think I learn more from them than they learn from me because they see the world so much simpler. I think we tend to overcomplicate everything so much, but they have this beautiful way of approaching Jesus that really inspires me. And so ministering with kids is one of my favorite things to do.
It reminds me, I had a conversation with my 5-year-old niece on the weekend, and I said, what have you been learning about at school? She said, well, we learn about Jesus because we're a Catholic school. And I said, who's Jesus? She looked at me with this strange look on her face and said, Jesus is God. And I thought, that's right. That's a good answer. Tell me, Anissa, when has your faith been a challenge for you?
I would say one of the most recent challenges in my faith have been, like, you know, it's easy to stay close to God when things are really good or really bad, but I found that middle ground where life is a little monotone, a little boring. It's easy to put God on the back burner when there's not too much going on. And so I found that consistency, like when things are good, when things are bad, when things are just okay, like consistency with God has been a really big challenge for me.
How do you deal with that?
You just kind of got to push through, I guess. It's more so realizing that faith is more than feelings, and faith is more than how I feel in this moment. It's that conviction that I know the truth, and that's an objective truth, not subjective to how I feel that day, but knowing that God is always there regardless of how I feel.
I normally would ask people now, how would you describe this St Christopher's faith community? But I want to hear more about your church at St Alphonsus.
Yeah, we're really vibrant. We're really, really diverse, really fun bunch. Obviously, there's a beautiful sense of community there because everyone in that community, most of them are migrant communities, and so they've left their families, their homes, like everything that we've known, and we've come to this new country. And so there's a beautiful bond that's there because we have this shared faith. In a country where we're a minority, we have this shared faith and we have this place where we can come together. And so there's definitely a unity and a love that comes from that. And yeah, very beautiful liturgy, very, very rich liturgy that I've really grown to love, and it's just a beautiful place.
Last question. If someone was thinking of either joining the faith or coming back to the faith after a time of away, somebody like your 17-year-old self, what would you say to them? What message have you got for them?
I would honestly just say, just give it a chance. Like the story of the prodigal son, right? The prodigal son takes one step towards Jesus and one step towards his father, and then the father runs all the way. Like all that God needs is just one yes, and all he needs is one step from you. And I think he makes up for the rest, and he runs towards you and embraces you. So just have an open heart and just go towards him.
That's a beautiful answer. Anissa, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
This is Faith in 5. I'm Stephen Senatiempo. We'll see you next time.